Rodrigo Garza, Operations Management Professor at IPADE Business School. And I have the pleasure to present my friend Enrique Correa, Operations Management Professor at the Crummer School of Business in Florida. Enrique, so good to see you, and so good to see you talking about a topic that we both enjoy so much, which is services, and the book that we wrote, Dirección Estratégica de Servicios, with Irineu Nogueira, yourself, myself, and hopefully we can have a conversation about the book and about the great, amazing topic of services.
Rodrigo, it's such a pleasure to be here with you, my old friend, colleague, and now co-author. So it's a pleasure to be here with our friends from IPADE and the rest of the world.
Thank you very much, Enrique. Thank you very much for your time. Let's jump into topic. A question that comes to mind is, why are services relevant? Why a book about services?
That's an excellent question, and I think we can divide the consideration about the relevance of services into a number of different topics or issues or reasons. The first is the importance of service in the economy for both developed and developing countries. I just gathered some recent data in here, and in Mexico, 58% of the gross domestic product comes from services. And services employ 62% of the whole labor in Mexico. And these numbers are similar to Brazil, 73% of the gross domestic product, and employs 75% of labor. In the US, just as a comparison, 78% of the US GDP originates from services, and it employs 80%, more than 80% of the whole labor. So if we're generating wealth from the service industry, it's not plausible that we keep focusing our attention in operations management only in manufacturing. And so that's one reason.
One of the things that I really like about the book we wrote is that you can find some examples on different companies and some companies from Latin America where you can relate to these topics. And the other thing is you can go as tactical as queue management, our capacity management. How do I handle different types of queues? How do I handle my capacity? How do I handle giving the as you mentioned, that the service might be lost? How do I handle the probability of having an empty room and not being used? Should I overbook my capacity? Those kind of things are really tactical. And from the strategic point of view, you have to pick your battles. The limited resources that the companies have, which battles do you want to fight? Which battles do you want to win? And which battles you do not want to fight, so you can actually achieve the competitive advantage. Enrique, another and last question, and this is a little bit more specific about the book. And why do you think our book, Dirección Estratégica de Servicios, might come out handy? How can somebody find this to be a handy book?
That's excellent, Rodrigo. We discussed a lot about this when producing the book. Having said in previous discussions of ours here that managing services is complex, and we use manufacturing as comparison, but in general terms, in absolute terms, it's very complex. Mainly some, of course, you cannot compare managing a hospital and managing a car wash. There are differences in complexity, but in general terms, managing services is complex. It is pretty hard for a manager to identify, for example, what is wrong when this manager notices that there is a degradation in service performance, or the manager notices that he or she is losing customers. The customer base is shrinking. It is pretty hard by working with these people, and you know as much as I do, working with these people, because of complexities, it's very difficult for these people without some mapping tool and without some analytical tools. In a systematic way, perform analysis so that you could identify the root causes, what is actually causing that degradation. Is it the marketing of service? Is it communication with the customers? Is it the design of the service that is not matching the wants and expectations of the customer? Is it the delivery system? Is it the operation involved? Is it communication with the service that is missing there, with the customer that is missing there? So without a systematic approach, we provide these tools for more systematic approaches in terms of going to the root causes of problems when there are problems, or recognizing that being competitive is a moving target. Tools that you systematically apply. For example, every X period of time, you reapply that tool. You reread the competitive forces. You reread your competitors. You recognize new entrants to the market, for example, or changes that a certain competitor brought to the market. And then you reanalyze all this and reprioritize. So a book like this can come handy in different aspects. First is when something goes wrong, you can more quickly get to the root causes and tackle those root causes and bring things back to control. And if you don't have an obvious problem happening, you still want to make sure that you are constantly being competitive. And because it's a moving target, it's important that you systematically do it, that you use the tools, the strategic tools, to read the market and read your own operation, and try to reprioritize your improvement efforts, your investments and things like this of scarce resources, so that you respond well to movements in the market, which are more and more prevalent and more uncertain and more volatile nowadays. So if we don't have tools to do it, if we just rely on intuition, you can just go so far. You can't go too far.